Good morning. Oh, Jesus. Bit of context for you. Because you're tying everything from a double collar on the wrist to like an intricate body harness, it ceases to be economical after a certain point to have a rope length for all of those different eventualities. What happens instead, like what I've got behind me, is people usually pick a rope length which suits them. So, for example, for me, it's 7.5 meters. But this raises the point of when we finish with our first rope, what do we do from there? You've got three options. You can extend the rope that's in your hand by joining another piece of rope onto it. You can join on somewhere else in the tie, like mid rope that you've already tied. Or you can start almost like a separate tie somewhere else on the body and intersect that with the rope you've already tied. In this video, we're going to cover the first two. Keep in mind that a lot of these join-ons rely on friction, so natural fibre rope is going to work best for them. If you're tying with rope like nylon, you will probably want to use the split locks head method because that seems to generate the most friction out of everything. Here's a very common scenario. You're tying and you run out of rope. How do I join another piece of rope on to elongate it? We can do this pretty efficiently if we break it down into smaller steps. Making a lark's head is a fundamental skill for elongating a piece of rope. Take the middle of your rope and place your thumb and index finger through it, and then bend it to select the working end of the rope. Now you can put more of your hand through to expand this loop. You can reduce the number of movements by putting your thumb and index finger together and pushing them through at the same time and then expanding. You'll notice that it takes very little force to move the bite and expand the lark's head, so just something brushing past it gently will move it open. See in this example, I'm using the side of my trousers to open that up. The next bit's relatively simple. I just place that lark's head over the ends of the old piece of rope and then pull down tight. If I have knots on the end of my rope and they're even lengths, it makes for a robust join. To remove this efficiently, I just need to pinch the bite and pull away sharply. The previous technique works really well if your rope ends are even, but what happens if they're not? You can see that it works for a little while, because when we pull on the lark's head it will stop at the shortest rope's knot, but if there's any pull on the other end of the rope, it introduces slack because the rope's able to slide through. How can we make a more stable connection? So let's have a look at splitting the lark's head. Again, I've got a situation where my ends are uneven, and I'm joining on by making a lark's head. Lark's head goes over the old piece of rope and tightens down. It tightens down at the point where I want the join to be. Now I'm bending the old piece of rope and pulling tight. Let's have a look at that again a bit slower. Lark's head goes over, lark's head pulls tight. So old piece of rope is running horizontal and new piece of rope is vertical. Let's pause here for a minute. Notice how the lark's head has two parts to it, a left side and a right side. If we were to split the left side away from the right side, we'd create a more complex intersection with the old piece of rope. Let's have a look. So now you can see in glorious slow motion, the lark's head has been split apart, almost back on itself. And then both pieces of rope have been pulled tight to hold it in place. Let's do it again at regular speed. It can be a pain to undo these ropes unless you reverse how you got here. So grab hold of these ends and pull them. This straightens the old piece of rope and means that you can directly grab the lark's head. The method that I just showed you is quite robust, but it does leave quite a bulky knot. So I'm going to show you a technique that Fred Hatt showed me. Before making a lark's head with the new piece of rope, take the old piece of rope and make a hitch in between the two lines. You'll notice this, once we place the lark's head on it, the hitch almost acts like a stopper. The amount of friction this generates creates quite a robust join. However, I wouldn't want to try this with something like nylon rope, which is quite slippy. Let's look at this a little bit closer. One line makes a hitch around the other, and all the slack is taken out of it. Now the lark's head goes over the top. And the lark's head is smaller than the knot you've just made, so it can't slip off the end. What do I do in a situation like this? I want to add more rope to the front of this tie, but I don't have access to the ends of the rope because they're around the back. Is there a way I can just start from here? Yep. I'm just going to tie an overhand knot directly on where I want to start from. And pull tight. Notice this is a directional knot, so the way I've tied it is going to make it easier for me to go down from here. If I want to go up, I've got a couple of options. I can put another knot on top, which will mean that the rope is now pointing upwards, or I can just tie it the other way around to start with. What about this situation? I want to join on the front, but I don't want to go vertically. I want to go horizontally. Look what happens. The overhand knot will slide along the rope that I've joined onto. To help this rope stay in place better, I'm going to go around and make a dead wrap, which is going around and then squeezing tight, and then putting the overhand knot on top of that. You'll see now that if I pull it, that it holds in place. So I want to join onto this rope that already has a division in it. Look what happens if I use an overhand knot and pull downwards. I pull down mainly the side that I've joined onto. What if I want to pull more evenly? What I'm going to do is go under one side, diagonal across, and up on the other side. And then pull a knot down on top of it. What happens now is it pulls down a lot more evenly because it's pulling on both sides. One little thing to bear in mind is just because you have even rope ends and you can join on nice and cleanly to the end of your rope doesn't mean it's necessarily the best idea. So for example, if you were going in between the arm and the body, these join-ons, they tend to be quite bulky. So putting it in, forcing a big knot in between the arm and the body, probably going to be uncomfortable for the person in the rope. So being able to place your join-on in a slightly different place is really useful for more sustainable bondage. Hope that was useful. Let me know in the comments if you've got any questions. Thanks as ever to our patrons for supporting us. If you want to join our Patreon, links on the screen right now. See you later.